Here are my 2024 Oscar predictions. The ceremony will start with a few straight minutes of a black screen to make everyone think there's something wrong with the broadcast in reference to the zone of interest. And then the first images will be in black and white and then transition to color to reference the various other nominees that did that this year. Godzilla -1 for Best Visual Effects. I was gonna go with The Creator because of how good it looked despite how little budget they had, but Godzilla -1 had even less of a budget and made it look really good, so that one. Jimmy Kimmel will tell a Barbie joke that will have taken 3 weeks to write and test to make sure that he doesn't Joe Coy himself. Or he'll tell a joke about having to do that. Poor Things for Best Makeup and Hairstyling, both head and pubic. Oh, and I just want to congratulate Maestro for being nominated in this category for making a nose. Well done. Oppenheimer for Best Film Editing. Literally anyone who has to edit one of Christopher Nolan's long-ass movies that give a big ol' f*** you to linear storytelling deserves all the awards. And money. According to the internet, Barbie will not win enough awards no matter how many awards it wins. I was torn between Oppenheimer and The Zone of Interest for Best Sound, but I made my decision after asking myself, which movie would be more noticeably boring without it? I ultimately decided that The Zone of Interest would, since it's more about what you hear than what you see. But I picked Oppenheimer because they're probably just going to give it to them. Nyad, which I refer to as Nyad, will not win any awards, but in true Diana Nyad fashion, they'll just claim they did anyway. I originally was going to go with Barbie for Best Costume Design because Barbie herself has decades and decades of designing costumes under her belt, but then I watched Killers of the Flower Moon. Yeah, it's going to be that one. Snoop from Anatomy of a Fall will be there. That is not a prediction. That is a demand. Poor Things for Production Design. I love a good movie that's designed in a way to make me say, what the f*** am I looking at? My 30th birthday is on the Oscars this year, and I predict that Jimmy Kimmel will once again forget to wish me a happy birthday. Normally when a Best International Film nominee is also nominated for Best Picture, then it's gonna win the former. But there are actually 2 international films nominated for Best Picture this year, so I have no idea what... Wait, Anatomy of a Fall isn't nominated for Best International Film? Oh, okay, then Zone of Interest for that, by a mile. Kilometer. Somebody who is actually funny will appear on stage and not be funny. Probably Sarah Silverman. The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar for Best Live-Action Short Film. Because it's the only live-action short film that doesn't try to emotionally ravage you, and if for no other reason than to stick it to Christopher Nolan. See, you can pack a movie full of dialogue and have it over in just 40 minutes. Although I wouldn't mind if Red, White, and Blue wins because of what it had to say, even if my stomach still has bruises from that brass-knuckle gut punch it gave me. The 2 dead wives from the short film Night of Fortune will show up in their caskets and introduce the In Memoriam segment. And the In Memoriam segment will disappoint someone on the internet for excluding someone. I've made this prediction every single year, and it always comes true. A sad-ass documentary you've never seen, but probably should, will win Best Documentary Feature Film. Specifically, who's nominated? Let's see. Bobi Wine, The People's President. I didn't watch any because they all look depressing like they usually do, and I'm not in a stable enough state to be able to handle that right now, but I went with Bobi because it was the first alphabetically, and it looked like it was the least depressing of the bunch. Which is weird because it's about a guy running for president against a prolific human rights violator, but such is the nature of the Best Documentary Feature Film category. The last repair shop for Best Documentary Short Film, but Nene and WIPO better be there. They better present an award or just something. Someone will do a joke where they're smoking 50 cigarettes at once to make fun of how much smoking there was in Maestro. Maybe it'll be 1 cigarette for each time you see someone smoking, which... No human on Earth could ever fit that many in their mouth at once. Oppenheimer for Best Cinematography. I wanted Poor Things, and I was torn between the 2, but let's be honest, Oppenheimer's the safer choice here. Elemental was the most beautifully animated movie of the year, but it won't win the award because it was interrupted by 3 minutes of love. The Boy and the Heron will win Best Animated Feature Film, and then Hayao Miyazaki will once again announce his retirement, only to come out of retirement and make another masterpiece, and the cycle will repeat until he finally dies. Which I hope is never. Best animated short film to Letter to a Pig. You could only stream like one of them online. What do you want from me? Ludwig Göransson for Best Original Score for Oppenheimer. Never before have I felt a composer working so hard to make 3 hours of men talking seem intense. What Was I Made For wins Best Original Song, but the performance of I'm Just Ken wins the internet. Like with Naatu Naatu last year, the performance of Wazazi from Killers of the Flower Moon will contain a lot more white people than you expected. Divine Joy Randolph for Best Supporting Actress. But never fear, Barbie fans, because the monologue from Barbie will be honored with the Best Adapted Screenplay Oscar. Any screenplay that can take a movie made to cash in on a toy and make it actually seem smart and poignant deserves an award. Watch out for American Fiction though, that could take it too. The Holdovers for Best Original Screenplay. I can't think of another Holdovers joke right now, which is why I don't write screenplays. There will be a joke that'll go something like this. Tonight we have so much diversity in our acting categories. We have an Indigenous nominee, Lily Gladstone. We have a Latina nominee, America Ferrera. We have 2 LGBTQIA+ nominees, Coleman Domingo and Jodie Foster. And we have several Black nominees, Danielle Brooks, Divine Joy Randolph, Coleman Domingo, Jeffrey Wright, Sterling K. Brown, and Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. will win Best Supporting Actor. He'll go from Iron Man to gold-plated bronze man. Oh, which reminds me, there'll be some sort of obligatory Iron Man Avengers joke at his expense. Oh, and it doesn't stop there, because since Robert Downey Jr. is competing against Mark Ruffalo for Best Supporting Actor, they'll show the clip of the fight between Iron Man and Hulk in Avengers Age of Ultron, but Tony will be rapidly punching the Hulk with an Oscar. Lily Gladstone will win Best Actress, and she'll have the corpse of Marlon Brando accept on her behalf. After her win, Lily Gladstone will be hired to stare at criminal suspects until they break down and confess. The Blue Man Group will be in attendance to congratulate Paul Giamatti on escaping the shadow of Big Fat Liar. And he will win Best Actor. Christopher Nolan for Best Director, which will add Justine Triet to the uncomfortable, ever-expanding list of women killed by a Christopher Nolan movie. Now, I gotta be honest, the Best Picture category is really stacked this year, and I watched all of them all the way through. It's the first time I've ever done it. My prediction is Oppenheimer, which I think deserves it, but it's actually lower on my list of the Best Picture nominees that I enjoyed this year. Barbie's at the top in terms of Best Picture nominees that I enjoyed the most. Poor Things is at the top of movies I enjoyed and found to be the best technically made. American Fiction is at the top of the list of movies I found to be the most clever. Past Lives is at the top of the list of movies that I found to be the most relatable. The Holdovers is at the top of my list of movies that I found to be the most emotionally balanced. Anatomy of a Fall is at the top of the list of the films I found to be the most multilingual. The Zone of Interest is at the top of my list of movies I found to star white people killing ethnic groups. Maestro is at the top of my list I found to be about smoking musicians. And Killers of the Flower Moon is at the top of my list of movies I found to be the longest. There's just so many good movies in this category. But personally, I'd give Best Picture to Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. That's it. Those are my Oscar predictions. Enjoy the ceremony. Or don't. I can't tell you what to do.